Can we give him a little credit for being able to flip-flop between both accents? Can you do Australian real fast? Give me Australian now. Go. Act.
Crocky.
I'm surprised you went with crikey and not good day, mate. I thought you were going to go with that one.
Would have been good.
Yeah, I like shrimp on the bobby. Right?
Oh, that's a good one, too.
Guys getting them processed at CVS.
What's the turnaround time on this? A week? That's not going to work.
It was half his vacation at Disney World, half following a dangerous assassin around the world. Now, Mike, you said in your intro it's a short novel by Stephen
not
King.
Too long.
So how many pages are we talking?
We're talking. So I guess I was misleading when I said I read it. It was an audiobook. But what I mean to say is,
I love that you just didn't make up a number. You could have said anything.
I would have believed it. Yeah, I would have never questioned it. I would be like, oh, all right.
Hey guys, welcome in and thanks for joining us for episode 10. Today my brothers and I will be pairing Maker's Mark 46 with Ready Player One. We're going to do something a little bit different this week. I'm going to throw it right to Taylor. Taylor, glasses in hand, guys. Cheers. Taylor, tell us about some Maker's Mark 46.
So Maker's 46 for me started out just like Wild Turkey Long Branch from last week. Initially, I was like, this is garbage. Like right off the top, I was like, I do not like this whiskey at all. I was like, here we go again, something that's way too sweet, not much more there. But I've tried it again. I tried it Saturday night. Now I'm trying it again. Sort of fresh palate. It's actually not that bad. I really initially did not like this, but on my second try, I think that it gets some really nice caramel notes, but not being overly sweet like we had last week. There's a touch of spice, medium full body. I actually think that this is pretty nice. I'm enjoying sipping on it in the first few minutes of this conversation.
Nice. For PJ, you want to go? You want me to take it over?
No, I go. I go. Unless I'm an idiot. Jeez. That's why we don't do it on Mondays. Totally fried already. So I actually liked it right off the bat, but I think it's because of what Taylor said. I was used to the sweetness from last week's. So when I first sipped it, it wasn't as much of a shock, the sweetness, and I was used to it already. So I enjoyed it right off the bat. Not blown away by it. Again, I think Taylor's right. It's not as sweet as Long Branch. But also, again, for me, like Long Branch, it's very quick, doesn't really linger long. It's another one of those where I take a sip and I'm like, all right, sweet. I do get the spice as well. I think there's a better balance between sweetness and spice in this one than the Long Branch. But it's very quick, coats, doesn't linger. Not much of a burn for me. Again, the spice is low. So overall, I enjoyed it. It's good.
On the same page on this one too. Initially, I was like, no good. I'm not a big Maker's Mark fan to begin with. So when I tried this, it was just kind of an elevated version of what I already didn't like. But after trying it a little bit more and getting into it, it has some good things going on. I don't think it's as complex as Long Branch was, honestly, after drinking that entire bottle. Like, there's a lot going on in that bottle that you have to kind of get past. We talked about it, that heavy hand of sweetness, but once you do, there are some cool notes. This one, I don't know, a lot of wood. Wood that definitely comes through. The spice is there, PJ, you're right. The finish, exactly correct. It's super quick again. Taylor, yeah, to your point, sweet, very sweet. I don't know. It's okay. It's nothing I don't think that I'm going to have again, but
No. That's fair.
It's not PJ's Paper Cup Award yet, but it's just not.
No, definitely not. It's not, definitely not at that level. But I paid $43 for it, and I would not pay $43 for it again. That's for sure.
I agree. I think we got lucky. We got it on sale that week. So it's like 38 or something. But
Yeah. I wasn't expecting it.
$9.99. Taylor got
There you
screwed.
go.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting it to be that expensive, honestly. I know Maker's Mark kind of sits right in that $30 price point, so I obviously assumed that the 46 would be more expensive. But I felt like $10 to $12 more expensive for what I know Maker's Mark to be. This definitely isn't that big a step up from a standard Maker's Mark. I mean, if you're gonna drink Makers, just drink standard Makers. I don't think this one does it for me for the extra money.
That's a great point. That's a
I agree
really
with
good
that.
point. You have a choice between these two. Just go with the standard and save yourself the $12.
Definitely, because this is a cocktail whiskey, in my opinion. I think Maker's is a good cocktail bourbon, so there's no need to splurge on this one. Definitely not.
And I will say, it is by far the quickest finish I remember out of the ones we've had so far. It leaves like instantly. I mean, and that's kind of, I guess that's disappointing, and it's something I don't like. I mean, I like to know that I've had some, you know, like I don't mind quick finishes, but like this is like nothing. It's almost just like you're done. It might not even have one at all. It might just be you drink it, its mouth, and you're done.
There's a little lingering spice, but after that, it's there. Yeah,
It's barely noticeable.
quickly.
I'll give it to you. It's barely noticeable. Like,
It's extremely valid. I was looking up the trying to find the grain bill of it. I did, but then I also just went on their site to check it out real fast, and they give you like how it's made kind of thing. And I'm wondering if the reason why the finish, I don't know if this is true, but because they do put in the staves at a different point in the process. So they're putting it in the barrel, and then at some point they'll pop that barrel open and throw in the French oak staves and let them sit in there for a while. Maybe it's just sucking too much out that would be the finish. I'm not sure. I don't know. I mean, you obviously got a great color from it. It looks beautiful.
it does.
But I just don't know if that's the reason or not. But it definitely has hardly any finish at all.
It does have a dark, rich color, and I will say that the richness is definitely right up front. It's definitely a bigger bodied bourbon, I think, compared to some of the ones we've tried. But yeah, it's lackluster on the finish. It's definitely not my favorite that we've tried so far. Definitely not.
I agree.
All that makes sense though, for when I first had it and knocked down a good portion of the bottle, because like I was just like, there's nothing. Oh no!
What just happened?
I definitely want to talk about the bottle though.
Oh man.
Sure.
Yeah,
Go for it.
I'll get into it. I love the wax on Maker's Mark. I
Agree.
think it's great. It's a cool touch. It's unique. You know, they're the only ones who do it, at least that I can think of. So that is cool. I like the original Maker's bottle better. I like that little square kind of stumpy bottle. It looks like a fancier bottle than this one.
Great.
And again, I went to put it in my cabinet, and it just didn't fit by a nose. So
How tall are your cabinet shelves?
Well,
Jesus.
no, I keep them above the fridge, so it's my own fault. But it's a narrow shelf. Very few bottles fit in there, and if I have to lay it down, I'm not gonna lie, it's a knock against it right away.
Like PJ with Bullet, when we were talking about that bottle, and I brought up the raised lettering, and PJ said that every time he sees, he's like, they did it. I think the same thing when I see the wax. Every time I see it, I'm like, they did it. We did it. We can do whatever we want. It's so amazing. And I know it's not real, but it just looks super cool. And I love the idea that at some point, I'm hoping anyway, when they first started, like guys in their garage making this and giving it to their friends, there's somebody out there that has a Maker's Mark bottle with like original wax on it and like a seal. That's pretty awesome, you know?
That would be cool.
I think that's pretty cool. Definitely.
And yeah, I will say, the bottle shape I liked. It felt different. I thought I'm with you, Taylor. I think the original is better, but I liked it. But everything else about it, besides the wax, I mean, wasn't blown away by the lettering, the font, the color of it. It just, I don't know. It didn't pop as much as maybe I thought it should. So it's overall pretty mediocre. And the top, the top was trash. I just didn't care for the top. I was like,
Was it cork, but an underwhelming cork, I guess?
Yeah.
Is what we'll go with.
yeah.
Definitely.
Agreed.
The original bottle is better. I mean, even just the fact that label on there is nice. That parchment kind of paper.
It is.
It all makes sense, right?
Definitely
It's
agree.
nice.
Yeah, and then the cask strength also shares that same bottle shape and the same label, which is another step up from the original. So I don't know, 46, they went the different route.
Oh, okay. I'm
It's
looking at
fun.
that right now. I never saw that bottle.
It's the same bottle, but then 46, I guess they switched it up. I don't know. I definitely prefer that original design, or it's whatever
Cool.
you'd want to call it.
I like that. I guess, okay, and then so 46 and Private, they do the same bottle for those two, and then regular Makers and Cask, they do the original bottle.
Yeah. I like the handle of the original bottle because it's just a massive version of it. It's so funny. It's like a weapon you're wielding.
Exactly right. Dual purpose. Definitely. And once you finish the bottle and get drunk enough, you can beat the shit out of somebody too. Review of Maker's Mark 46 for me. I'm going to go ahead and give it a 2. It is a decent bourbon, but I don't feel like it has enough character or enough going on to it. I think there's just it's not one note, but there are just a couple notes. And I think, as we spoke about, for the money, I'm not sure that it's worth that. I think it should be in our usual $30 price range, somewhere around there. And even then, maybe I'll give it a 3. But a lot of sweetness, a ton of wood, obviously a little bit of spice, not a lot of finish, just kind of like, okay. So 2 stars.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll follow up. I'm also 2 stars. It's a very meh bourbon.
Yeah,
like
better
it's
word.
it's kind of there. And honestly, the price hurts it, which is why I give it a 2. Like if it was cheaper, I might give it a little higher score, but not much more than 2. Maybe a strong 2, maybe a soft 3, maybe. But as it is, it's a 2. It's fine. I don't think I'd ever get it again. It's not worth it.
Yeah, I agree with both of you guys. The only thing I wish I could do is go back and change my Wild Turkey rating, because I gave it a strong 2, and I actually prefer the Maker's 46 to it. Yeah, I just get a little bit more out of it. Not a ton more. It's really negligible, but I gave the Wild Turkey Long Branch a strong 2. I'll stick to that and give this a strong 2. I think they're right there. I paid more or less the same price for them, and more or less the same amount of wowed by both of them, which is not very. I think a strong.
Taylor, excuse me, I'm sorry, but just so I'm clear, you got more out of this one than you did the Long Branch.
Initially, yeah. I
Nice.
think my first view, I think there was just a little bit more depth to it. I think you guys are both spot on. There's not a ton of finish. I don't know. For me, it was just there were a few more layers to it than I thought was with the Long Branch. So it gets the slight edge from the Long Branch, but they're right there. They're a strong 2 star. I think that's fair.
I'm gonna read your thoughts.
All right, guys, initial thoughts on Ready Player One. I'm going to take this one first. My initial thoughts are amazing. I absolutely love this movie from start to finish. This is the life I want to live. As sad as that is, I want to be that lady on the pole in the beginning in the trailer, just hanging out, swinging around, living my dream. I love this entire movie. I think it's fantastic. It's fun. I watch it over and over and over just so I can try to find all the stuff that I missed the last time I watched it. It's just a movie about finding an Easter egg that has 30,000 Easter eggs in it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah. I'm really glad that you recommended this movie, because I thought it was super fun. And I can't believe I haven't seen it before. So, like, as soon as it started, like, not even 10 minutes in, I was just like, yeah, I get it. This movie's going to be fun. It's going to be, exciting, awesome, Love the pop culture references. Love the like sort of animated action, if you will. I just thought it was super cool. And yeah, I don't have a lot of notes, but I think I have some good notes, some good talking points that I gathered from it. I thought I had a lot of fun watching it. It was cool.
Yeah, for me, Michael, you stole what I was gonna say, and so we're the same page there. Like this is like dream world for me. Dystopian future where you basically escape by going into like the most epic VR like thing. It's just that's what I want. Like, I just able to spend all life around me sucks, but I just go in here, escape, and do whatever I want, and it's just like super cool and everything's fun. I felt it was very the story was good and it was done very well. It made me want to read the book because the world just seemed alive and very cool, and just there was so much to it. I was overloaded with the pop culture stuff. I had to stop after like 15 minutes. I can't write everything down because I'll never finish the movie. It's just like Taylor said, it's fun. I enjoyed it. The story is cool. Special effects were great. It's a fun movie. I enjoyed it.
If I can give you any advice about the book, try the audio. It's freaking awesome.
No.
So good.
No.
I mean, starting off, this is a very random note, but just to get the conversation started. Columbus, Ohio. This is the third thing that I've watched on TV recently that's had a reference to Columbus, Ohio being the future. I don't know what that means, but there's somebody out there that knows something that we don't know.
I had a note that said Columbus, Ohio ? So I don't imagine that being the epicenter to a dystopian future. But I could be wrong.
I'm telling you, man, somebody knows something. We better get there fast. I was there once. It's awful. But
I was there once too. It's you want to talk about one note? They don't have a whole lot going on there. Yeah. What's up, Ohio State? You guys got nothing going on.
I had to go up there for work. I guess like over a year ago now, and like was going with someone, and I was like, oh, nothing like Columbus in December. It was fucking brutal.
I wonder if it's gonna be gray.
It was. And it was cold as shit.
It's such a depressing city. It's such a depressing city.
If that's the future, that's the worst future ever.
It's funny because I took off from Boston, nothing but blue skies. And then I touched down in Columbus. I was like, yeah, I'm in the Midwest. So you guys both talked about how it is that, that's the goal, that's kind of the future. My thought was, one with science fiction, just like Back to the Future 2, right? Like 2015 obviously didn't look like 2015 as we know it. There were no flying skateboards or anything. So 2045, which is when this is set, is that, with where video games are trending, is that something that can't be achieved? I know that that's a real grand scale, but do we think that in 25 years, VR is going to be at least advanced enough to have some sort of rig that kind of matches up with that idea?
I hope it's set in 10 years.
I would hope 10.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's where we're trending, right? Like if you take Destiny or any RPG for that matter, you're making an avatar out of yourself, and then it's an open world to do essentially whatever you want. That's where video games end goal is, right?
I hope so. That's always been my this wasn't my conversation. My conversation I would have with PJ all the time was, at some point when I play FIFA, if it doesn't pop up out of my PlayStation in the middle of a living room and I don't see people running around on my floor, I'm going to be very upset. Like, that was my idea.
So augmented reality was
yeah.
your initial thought. Okay.
Exactly. Because it was just, you can only take graphics so far, right? The players are going to get the players. You're going to add a touch or something like that here or there.
Sure.
When I want to see holograms running around and I'm playing those. But this, I mean, I hope so, man. It would be so amazing. I guess it probably would be awful because people would definitely not go out ever.
Yeah, that would be tough. That would be tough. So, like, if you actually died and that was the end all, you lost all your loot. I mean, that's
right.
I think that exactly what happened in the movie would happen in real life. People would legitimately lose their shit in real life and try to kill people. And I mean, you're investing money in that stuff, right? Like, you invest money in video games now, but once you spend that money, at least it's yours.
Correct.
If it ever got to a point where you could actually lose the money you spent on a game, especially that realistic,
Agreed.
People are going to lose their minds.
The one thing I can't pick up from the movie, and I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be understanding this or if I'm reading too far into it. At that point, is that the only way that they're making money? Is through the Oasis, or do they have jobs?
People have jobs,
right?
But I think you could also make a living just playing the video game like you can now, like with
Sure.
Twitch streamer and stuff. So
Okay.
I think people have jobs, but like actual real stuff to make society work. And then, but if for some reason you don't have to do that, and you can just, I think, totally just Oasis it up, and that's
Sure.
that's how you make your income.
Like that
I think
line
it's
that
fine.
Taylor brought up, when you lose your shit, you really lose your shit. That Japanese guy had a job. He was at his job. He wasn't doing a very good job, but he was there.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
Right? Okay. So you still have a job. You're not, okay. But you can, like H made her living
Exactly.
in the Oasis. Got it.
Which is why the first watcher was really cool, though, because it's like that first run through of a video game
You're right.
where you're just like collecting a bunch of different stuff. You're like, oh, I'm collecting everything, right? And then like you run back through the video game and you're just like, I left so much behind
That's so great.
and didn't catch everything. So that was, a cool way to view the movie, because you're just like, oh, like I know that. But then like, I'm sure if I ran it back like 3 or 4 more times, you could definitely catch some different stuff.
That's probably why I watch it as much as I do, because I was watching it again today. I put it on today just to check it out, and that's exactly what it is, and I didn't even think about it. It's just like going back through a video game, trying to find all the stuff that I missed, because I never find all the treasures. I never find I'm not good at that.
Right.
But as I go back through, I'm like, well, I know where everything is now, so I'll just go over in this corner that I never went to before and find this one, and that's pretty cool. I never thought about that.
Yeah, see, for me, I mean, totally agree with both of you, but like I said in my initial thought, like, I had to stop doing that almost instantly, because, like, I was overloaded, because I was pausing, like, every 10 seconds, and I was like, no, I'm never going to get, like, it was just too much, and then eventually I was just like, I can't do it, so I probably caught the least out of the 3 of us, like, all the Easter eggs, because I couldn't, it was too much. I couldn't do it. It was so many, like,
really
when they set up for the race, and you see the Bigfoot truck, I was like, it's so cool, I remember that. And then, like, you see his car in his DeLorean, and then I told you see the Knight Rider, Kit's things in front of the DeLorean, and at that point I was like, okay, we're done. Like, we're just gonna watch it, and this stuff I catch, but it was just
Back to the Future, and there were 3 movies that really like dominated most of the stuff that you saw, but Back to the Future was obviously one of them. Even in like the beginning credits, the way that the beginning credits come up, if you look at the font, it's the font from Back to the Future.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah, see, I missed that.
Like
That's
that
crazy.
kind of like that little like obviously there's a Zemeckis cue, which was awesome.
Yeah.
But the DeLorean, all that kind of stuff was crazy. When he pulls up his screen and he's calling H to find out where he is, and if you gotta like look quick or pause it, but behind him is actually a character, an avatar, who's dressed in Doc's suit that he wears coming back from the future in two,
Jeez.
or at the end of 1. Like there's
Okay.
so many Back to the Future references in there. It's just insane.
Yeah.
So many.
I love that, though. That's And I definitely didn't catch. I mean, I didn't catch that one. I definitely didn't catch near as many as I should have. But they were just like enough. They were definitely like enough sort of really recognizable ones throughout, where you don't have to stop and notice each one. They kind of just like throw you a bone every now and again to be like,
Exactly.
You may not be paying full attention, but you'll catch this one, at like a major spot. So I think they did a good job of that, along with the hidden ones.
The setup of the movie is
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I have is a great opening. I mean, from Van Halen Jump, like that song, and then like him just getting to his spot, and then like you said, the 10th. I mean, it's great. I mean, it's a great opening.
Van Halen Jump can start anything off, and it's great.
Absolutely.
Like the intro to anything, and you'll be ready to go. I'm just like, all right, something's about to go down.
Yeah.
You don't play this song for no reason.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And when he gets to his van, like, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
I know it's so ridiculous, but like, because like it is a shitty surrounding, but I was like, yes.
But once you get in, it doesn't matter, right? I mean, that's the point. But I agree with you. Like I had the same feeling. I was just like, oh man, what like a cool little place to game. And then it helps even more that like this your outer surroundings don't matter. You're just once you're in the game, you're in the game, and that's it. It's so cool.
It's so awesome.
I'm sorry, no way she gets the name online of H. That was taken years ago. She's H1,075,000. I know it's
played up for the film, but
I get it. But when I heard that, I was like, no, she wasn't the first H. Get out of here.
I've tried that. I've tried MS before. It's like you need 4 letters, a pound sign, a number.
Yeah, right. It'll never work.
Lucky. I do like the part where they take her to fix her bike to H's factory or warehouse, and I love the initial like, this is my workshop. Don't touch anything or touch nothing. I love that part, but I love the fact that Parsival gets like really excited and like he's getting into her and he starts showing like all the stuff out of the lunchbox, and then he just like, how are you showing off my shit?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I love that.
It's really good.
That's a great
really
scene,
good.
actually. I did like that scene because that sets up again. The one thing I wanted to dial back on, because I really did like, it was just one of those movies where I really enjoyed like each scene, and I just thought it was so cool. So like I wanted to dial back like how I really felt about it, but just to draw like a slight comparison to Back to the Future. Everyone pump the brakes. I'm not comparing it to Back to the Future,
Right.
but I love the love story or the romance. I good friendships, and I think like that was a lot of things PJ touched upon with Back to the Future, was how many things it offered you in one movie is what makes it great. I think that this movie also did a lot of those things. Not that it's like a full-blown 5-star classic movie, but it just gave you like good friendships, good romance story, good science fiction, great pop culture references. Like the list goes on. So I think for something that we missed, really like out in theaters and then took us a little while to see, I think that this movie hit a lot of those marks, which I thought was kind of fun in the first watch through.
Can't disagree, man. I think that's spot on. I think that if you ever had the opportunity to meet Steven Spielberg and tell him that, he'd be hard pressed to tell you that that's not his recipe. That's exactly how he makes movies, right? I mean, it's E.T., it's, Back to the Future, this movie.
Yeah.
He just go so far as to say War of the Worlds. Like there's an underlying relationship in everything that kind of draws you in. That's just why he
Even
is.
Jaws. I mean,
Jaws,
the bond that they make while they're on that boat is, what makes, when Quint, if you don't have that that relationship and that drunk scene where like they all bond and show that
Exactly.
You're right, he does that very well, and
That's how he bakes his movies. He has the recipe. He knows what works. He knows what draws people in, and
he nailed it in this one.
Gets me every time.
Super on board, super on board. But just before we get off the race, I love the collecting coins.
Oh, so
He opens the door and they all swarm in, and he puts them right into the gas tank.
That
Ate that shit up. I was, oh man.
I did too. As soon as I saw that, I was like, heck yeah.
That's what
that
sucked
was
me
super
in.
cool.
Yeah.
That's what
so
did it.
cool.
I mean, when you saw him like take the coins, get them, and then throw them into his gas tank, I was like, come on.
Yeah.
That's all I need. That's all I need.
And I also like it happened later when IROC gets his arm shot off and the coins are coming out of his
Yeah.
like I thought that was cool. He's like trying to plug it up. I just love that concept of like instant, like you do something and you get the coins and you can like just instantly do something with it. It was so amazing.
I love TJ Miller, who played
IROC, I think.
IROC, yes, correct.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I love him, and I love his humor and his comedy. I just don't buy him being like the bounty hunter, right? Essentially, that was his role almost.
I am
not.
so pumped that you said that because I was just having this conversation. I thought the same exact thing. And here's the problem. The first and second time I watched it, I forgot. I got lost in the fact of this, like these are people that are living a life, and this guy he's the bad guy and he's a bounty hunter. But at the end of the day, he's just some like dork fat kid sitting on his couch. Like I forgot that it was a VR thing. It wasn't a
True.
You get so caught up in the fact that this is the real world, but it's not. The real world is Wade.
It's very true.
Right? So like
It's very
Wade was
true.
cooler than IROC. IROC was some idiot who was just hanging out, you know, like
Yeah, you're not.
Yeah, see, I was totally on board. Like to me, it made sense but to how Michael describes it, like, you know, there's players out there who are just like amazing at a game, and if you met them, you'd be like, you're the one who's killing me all of it. Like every time I show up,
Yeah.
like you're the one. So like to me, and like his voice and like how, because again, like now how video games are, like there could be someone who's, you know, whatever, nerdy or this and that, but like you don't hear them talk, like they just dominate you in a game. So in this world, like you hear him talking, it's his voice, and you hear his voice and like how his comedic timing and all that, and you're like, yeah, this guy isn't a bounty hunter, he's isn't a killer, but you're like, no, he probably is, because this is all he's doing.
Nolan. So when he gets out of his rig and he looks over at the password, I initially was just like, what CEO of a tech company has his password in his virtual reality rig? No one.
such a tool.
No one.
But it makes sense once you learn more about him that he's just like a total fraud. Like he
is a fraud. It does add up.
He's just not in that world. Like he just wants money. Like he has some like can't remember his name.
But if Larry Page has his Gmail password on his desktop, he'd be like, really? All right, well.
And it's spelled out like Gmail password or like username password, and he's just like Gmail. You write it down. It's like everything on a sticky note.
Admin ID for all of Google.
It's
All
so
lowercase. I love that little kid, the little Japanese kid. He's like, what am I supposed to do? Say I'm 11, shoot me first.
Yeah, right.
And I did like that aspect that they had a character like that.
Oh, so great.
Because again, just like we were talking about, like you know that those are probably the bulk of the players that are killing me when I do a multiplayer game, because they're playing that's all they do, because they have time for it. So I thought that was cool that they had someone like that. That was pretty neat.
And Sylvester actually did the music for this, and he was the same guy that did the music for Back to the Future. So there was actually a point, if you guys go back and check out the extra stuff that we have, where Steven Spielberg tells him, when they throw out the Zemeckis cube, he said, I don't want it to sound like Back to the Future. I want it to be Back to the Future. So all of that was like, that part, like he made sure that it was exactly the way he wrote it for Back to the Future. And he actually said afterwards, he was like, I think that's the first time that I've actually gotten it where I wanted it to be. So it was better for him in this movie.
Okay, that's cool.
See, I love those like cool little facts about like people who like make movies, because people who make movies, or just do anything and create your own thing, obviously it's your own thing. So those people don't really care about what other people think. But then of course, like you make something like Back to the Future, and it's, world famous. So it's cool to know that there were like little things in there that he put into a film from 2016. I was like, this is how it should have been. And you can't say, no, you're wrong, because he actually did it. It's like, no, I disagree. I think that this is how it should have been Back to the Future. He's like, well, I did the music in Back to the Future, so your opinion is irrelevant. I think that that's awesome. I get on board for that stuff all the time.
It's pretty awesome. That's pretty cool. I like that a lot. Could you imagine, like, you don't even know, like, when you write something like that, you don't know anybody's going to care.
Yeah,
like,
right, exactly.
Like, yes, right now, like, we don't think anybody's going to give a crap, but there could be a moment where somebody actually does give a crap, and, everybody starts watching all of a sudden, and we just go, wait, what the hell?
You have to go back to your notes and be like, oh, yeah, I did have that in there. Let me just make it a little bit better.
Which is, and this is kind of off topic because it's not about, but that's why when people like just totally rip apart George Lucas for his redone versions of Star Wars, I'm always like, okay, I get it. Like it's messing with my nostalgia and like what I remember, but like it's his. Like if he wants to add scenes and add CGI, like years later, and like to make it his vision, like what he wanted, like okay, like it's
to say no.
What's that?
Who are we to say no?
Exactly.
Put out
And
there.
I mean, again, I get it. Like, of course, I like the originals, but director's cut or like a super director cut or just him adding shit, like whatever. He owns it. Like it's his. And the only reason I got to enjoy it was because he created the original, like the first thing. So if he wants to quote unquote mess it up, have at it. Like it's yours.
I would think I'm sure, like if we did that, if we all came up with something that was epic and phenomenal, something that everybody just loved, timeless, Star Wars, Back to the Future, whatever the case was, and then we sat down like 10 years later and we were like, you know what, let's make 3 more.
Yeah.
At that point, I'm just, and this isn't obviously not right because I have no idea who these people are, but I would be the first person to say, and let's fuck with them for a while. Right? Like, let's put in shit that we know is just going to cause outrage. Like, I want to go on E! Entertainment and watch people just lose their fucking minds for like 20 minutes. Because we're already established, right?
Exactly. At that level, who gives a shit?
We already made it. Like, I'm George Lucas. I have my own Lucasfilm company. I'm good. Yeah. What you think, I mean, okay. You already told me what you thought. I put out my best product, and you told me it was amazing. Thank you very much. Now here you go. This person's going to dance with Jar Jar Binks, and we're going to hang out for an hour and a half. And that's it.
So true.
Right?
Yo, people take that stuff so seriously.
So seriously. It's like,
I feel like we've all, I don't know. I can't think of one specific moment right now, but I think all of us have probably been caught up in the sequels or the 10 years later aren't as good. But if it's the same writer, especially like when you're talking about like George Lucas or anyone who's established themselves as like a film creator, what do they care? I mean, really, like,
exactly.
What's the difference? I mean, who really cares what like everyday viewers think? Like, you did what you wanted, and maybe you didn't do what you wanted with the original ones, right. And then you were just like, well, I'm gonna do exactly what I want to do now because people are gonna watch it anyway. Exactly. So I love that. Like, I may not love every movie that comes from it, but I love the attitude of, I'm going to do what the heck I want to because they're my movies. So
exactly right. And I'm sure, I mean, I get that, I'm sure that they want to put out a good product, obviously.
Of course, sure. Yeah.
But, I mean, let's throw them a little FU here.
There's a little bit of leeway there for the George Lucases and all those people of the world.
Definitely. They earned it. They earned their stripes. They can do whatever they want at this point.
Exactly.
GoldenEye on Slapper mode.
I mean, when they made that reference, by the way, and his favorite character was Oddjob, I remember playing that on N64, and like me and my friends would play like 4-player like split screen, and you would you wouldn't be allowed to play as Anjab because he was smaller than everyone, and you can never shoot him.
That's what he said.
And he was just like, and then Cyberman was just obviously just like karate chop stuff. I mean, when they said that, I was like, yeah. I mean, that was like high school. Like I didn't have N64, but go over to my friend's house. We would just stay up all night and just play Deathmatch, GoldenEye. And
You want to know what's funny is that when I was probably in elementary school, GoldenEye on N64 was still the game. It was the go-to deathmatch game.
Sure.
What everyone played.
I think that has to be like I understand the 10 out of 10 for Last of Us Tour. I think that has to be probably one of the best games ever made. Like as far as transcending, that's all people talk about that game all the time.
Oh, absolutely. No, GoldenEye is absolutely crazy.
Amazing. So good. And if I played it twice. And I never played multiplayer.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I never had an N64, I had a PlayStation, but like I sunk dozens and dozens of hours just going to a friend's house and playing because again, we were like early high school, so you know, we weren't going out doing this or that like we were talking about last week with the Dazed and Confused, like going out drinking, like just be a Friday night where like we don't do, and we would just play, have a sleepover, like
Play GoldenEye.
and play GoldenEye all night. That was it.
Hell yeah. GoldenEye parties were a thing.
Yes, they were. Absolutely.
Yes, they were.
I guess that was like my first like exposure to like a LAN party. I know it's not but like just like split screen doing that stuff, and then in college with Xbox and Halo, that's all we did, split screen, 4-player split screen, and we would just kill each other.
I wish I had more of a introduction to LAN party. I really just like, I was at that awkward, like, LAN party doesn't need to be a thing anymore, but also it was a thing. But then it just went like right from that. It was so quick. It was just like LAN parties are awesome to they don't need to exist anymore. Just like that. Like it was.
That stinks.
It was like a month's difference, you know, not a month, but like it was just like a little while before like it was obsolete and everyone was just playing online. Like it went from everyone being like, let's like hook up and just like share Wi-Fi and just play on 2 separate screens. And all of a sudden everyone's just like, oh, well, we can just play with each other at our own homes. So quick. It was so quick.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Never got there.
Fun fact, the intro scene of the Oasis when Wade first puts on his VR mask and he goes into the Oasis for the first time, that music that was written is like opera and Latin and whatever, and the Latin translation is Father Egg, Easter Egg, come and find me. That's what they're saying when they do that. Pretty awesome. It's actually, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Let me explain. No, there is too much. Let me sum up.
All right, guys, let's get into the review of Ready Player One. So my review of this movie is a solid, strong, hard, whatever you want to call it, 4. This is an amazing movie. I love it from start to finish. It's so much fun. It covers my entire life up till now. It's everything I want a video game to be. It is all the nostalgia I need in a movie. It is super fun. It's just a great watch. I think, as I told you guys in the beginning, I think Steven Spielberg was just showing off at this point. He was like, look, I can do whatever I want, and here it is. I'm going to take this book that's awesome and make it a great movie. And I'm going to throw in all this stuff from my life that I loved and this guy's life that he loved and just put it all in this movie and let you guys figure it all out. And you can watch this movie 5-6 times and still pick up something new. And that for me is awesome. And I love it. So 4-star across the board, easy, awesome. Recommend it to anybody.
Taylor, you or me?
PJ, you go.
Okay. Easy 4. Pushing 5. I'm not going to give it a 5. I think if I watched it more, it might get there. It's very well done. If I would have thought of trying to make a movie like this, I wouldn't have done it justice. Whereas this one does it perfectly. Like it's what I want to see when I watch a movie like this. It does things that I would think of but couldn't pull off. Like it's just very perfect. Like Michael said, the pop culture nostalgia, like it's right there, and while it's overwhelming, it's not overdone because it makes sense for the movie. The story's great. To Taylor's point, way back, you have the friendships, you have the love, you have again all the things you want in a movie. And the story's fun, and it's just cool, and it makes me want to watch it again, which, I mean, it's why movies, like, if it's a good movie and you want to watch it again, like, that's the point. I can't wait to read the book, and it doesn't miss, and I'm not giving it a 5 just because I am hesitant to, but it's right there. So, solid 4.
Awesome.
So this is an easy 4 for me. Easy 4. I was hoping you guys would say something different, but you didn't, and I totally agreed with everything you said. It's so good. It's just like it really hits all the pop culture spots. It hits all this is what I'm looking from a cool little action movie. It just doesn't. It is what it is. I mean, this movie delivers, and it's so good. Yeah, it's awesome. I wish I had anything wrong to say with this movie, but I don't. 4-star, I think, is fair. It's not right there. It's not a Back to the Future. It's not something over the top, but it really is. It's a really great watch. Really great watch, and
Agree.
I love
how we all did not see this in IMAX. I don't understand. I don't know how we missed it.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's one of the few movies I regret not seeing in the theaters.
Yeah, I don't get it.
It's really cool. It's really cool.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for us. We hope you enjoyed episode 10. Please join us next time when we pair Knob Creek or Jack Daniels, depending on what we can get on sale, with Airplane. Until then, cheers.